or good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those in India. I think this is Delhi or Indian Standard Time, 9 p.m. in the evening. We're very lucky today to have three very big Indian travelers representing a large swath, a large geography within India. Ravi Prabhu, Sidddhartha Goshi, and Vishnu Saha. A big namaste, big swagate to all our Indian visitors and those from outside of India as well. First things first, just want to mention Nomad Mania is sponsoring this webinar. I want to mention that before Monday, there's a chance to nominate some of the top travelers in the world. If you go to nomadmania.com site, look on the top, on the very top line, you'll see a button that says awards. You have a chance to nominate until Monday. Biggest traveler, most intrepid traveler, most daring traveler, best travel book, most purposeful traveler, biggest digital nomad, and very important for, in the case of Vishnu and Sidddhartha, one specific award is called the award for the biggest low passport index traveler. Those that are quite lucky to have a US passport don't qualify, but those from India have a chance to win that category. Also a category, best travel fixer, best travel app. Okay, let's get to the meat of the show today. We are very lucky to have a chance to talk to three big travelers in India. I'm very happy to be hosting this webinar. I'm a big fan of big countries. I myself am American. I lived 7 years in China. I lived 6 years in Brazil. And I always say India is like the menu in the Indian restaurant. You eat 4 or 5 dishes, you know nothing. You go to 4 or 5 regions in India, you know nothing. And I've just scratched the surface of India. My very first trip I took 10 years ago, Beijing to Karnataka. I know a place Sidddhartha knows quite well, Bangalore. I traveled Beijing, Bangalore. I entered India through the Wagah border, where they shout, Pakistan Zindabad, Hindustan Zindabad. That's my very first contact with India. I crossed the border, traveled a bit in India, came back another time. But I'm sure I'll go back many more times in my life. India is a rich buffet for all curious travelers who value diversity in the richness of the human experience. Today, we're going to have our webinar in 2 portions. One, we want to hear the experiences of the 3 travelers abroad, outside of India, their impressions. And the second part of the program, we're going to have a unique perspective of these very well-traveled Indian travelers within their own country. Name 1 or 2 of their special favorites within India, and perhaps then 1 or 2 places they haven't been to yet, but they'd very much like to go. Sat Sri Akal, Navdeep, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Okay, you've come just in time. I just wanted to recapping quickly for you.
Sorry, I was late. No network in Sri Lanka. I have
better late than never, always. So just to recap 2 points for you. We're going to talk first about our guest experience. You and Ravi and Vishnu Saha's experience travel outside of India. And the second part of the program, we want you to share your favorite places within India that you've been to, and also places that you would plan to go into the future. And at the very end of the program, we have a chance for those who are online to ask questions of all the guests. Okay, first part, just maybe 3 or 4 minutes. We want to introduce yourself individually. Most importantly, your travel story. What sort of pushed you towards travel, inspiration that brought you from a person who's traveled a few places, all of a sudden this dream to explore very deeply this big, beautiful country of yours, this big, beautiful planet of all of us. And I want to start first with Ravi Prabhu, who is very well along in his travel journey. We're very blessed to have an American passport, making things just a little bit easier to ice, step by step, see this beautiful planet of ours. Ravi Prabhu, please introduce yourself and tell us one especially emotional or special travel story, special emotionally because it's a moment of immense pride, joy, or a sense of connection. So your personal travel story, and share one little travel anecdote of your long life of travel. Ravi Prabhu, thank you for coming today.
All right, guys, for everybody watching, my name is Ravi, and I was born and raised in India. I emigrated to the United States of America and now hold an American passport. I have always had this dream of being in every country of the world. And fortunately, I completed my 193rd country just last week. So I have two more countries to go. They are Libya and Venezuela. And I've already gotten my visa for the 194th country. So that's going to be around the corner. That will leave me with one country only. And coming to an emotional moment, with an American passport, Syria was not allowing American tourists to come in. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Luckily, I was able to travel to Syria just a few months ago. And then to see Syria from the news as things were happening, and to be right there, very close to Raqqa, in Homs, where there was a ISIS center, nerve center for the whole operation. To be at that place was not just emotional. It gave me kind of goosebumps, put me into some kind of a stoic, many poignant moments and so forth. So that was the most emotional latest travel story, and that's my travel in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Ravi. I think all of us who are on this travel journey really appreciate these obstacles that sometimes things like visas can present for us. I was very lucky. I had some difficulties at the end. My very last country was very easy. It was Colombia. So I have a lot of empathy for those who are hanging with Turkmenistan, North Korea, or for American Syria. So congratulations on passing the Syria hurdle. Next, from our guests, I'd like to invite Vishnu Saha. I've taken a look at some of your videos. You create some really interesting content. I don't understand what you're saying, but you're full of energy, and you have a real sense of connection with all the people that you interact with, even though I don't understand a single word you're saying. So Vishnu Saha, welcome. Looking forward to what you have to say.
Yeah, so thank you so much, everybody, for inviting me in this event. Firstly, because I really feel that the travelers who are here in the panel, they are way more experienced traveler than me, and I just feel so grateful to be in this platform talking with such a great travelers who have been to so many places around the world. So I'm Vishnu, and I started my travel journey from India. Of course, I'm from a very modest family, and initially it was really hard for me to fund my travel. So I used to travel in India, hitchhiking, backpacking in a very budget, and slowly I started traveling abroad. From India, the usually the first international destinations are the Southeast Asia, because that's really cheap and also really nice from our passport perspective. So I started from Thailand. That was my first country, and then after that, I think uh, I had a different style of traveling. Like I really wanted to travel in a different way, and probably travel to a very different destinations, which really excited me after my first destination, which was Iran. So I went to Iran, which was I think probably in 2019. Yes, and then after that country, I think I really started loving traveling to really misunderstood countries, or something which is really not really touristy. Because my experience in Iran is something which really changed the way I travel now. Because Iran was not something which I was expecting when I was thinking of traveling to Iran. So I was really scared of traveling to Iran, and back then I had really different opinions about Iran. But when I went to that country, and probably the guys who are in the panel, of course, would relate to what I'm saying, is that after you travel to Iran, you just get to know the people, and then probably it becomes one of your best countries. And that's how I started my journey. And then I started traveling in Middle East, Africa, some parts of Europe, Asia, and yeah, it's been like I think I've been like 38 countries something now. Yeah, right now I'm in Germany. It's 38th, I guess. And yeah, that's how things are going on right now. And probably I think I would be the least country count guy in the panel right now, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and could you share with us one super special emotional moment you travel, a moment of joy, connection, or a special
Yeah, so the thing
pride?
is, I had many experiences like this, but again, I would quote Iran for this, because Iran was one of my few initial countries, and I really met really nice people there, like something which I couldn't even imagine. Like those people just go out of your way to help you, out of your way to make sure that you experience their hospitality, their food, their culture, which was really something made me emotional, and it was really hard to leave that country for me. And also, once when I was in Afghanistan recently, they put me in jail, which really was something really something like I was like, why am I in a jail now? Like I came here as a tourist,
Mhm.
and they kept me in a jail, which was like how we see in the movies. Like they put the plate from the bottom to eat food, and I was in that situation, and I was like, wow, this is something really different for me.
So why were you in jail, Vishnu? Why were you in jail? What was
So
the
I
reason?
went. This is a recent experience of mine during the Taliban regime. So they didn't know what I'm doing in Taliban in Afghanistan, and they just checked my passport. They couldn't understand because probably I'm guessing that they can't read what is written in my passport. So they just put me in jail because they couldn't understand what I'm doing in Afghanistan and stuff. But then they called their higher officials, and then they inquired, and then they leave me after like 6-7 hours.
Well, you're lucky to get out then. That's good to hear. Okay. Navdeep, thanks for finally coming. I shared with the rest of the group before, my very first experience with India was coming through Punjab. I came through the Wagah border. So whenever I think of Punjab, I think about Pakistan Zindabad, Hindustan Zindabad at the border. And 2-meter tall men walking like this, big, strong, tough people. That was my very first experience. So I always connected with Punjab. So I'd like to also hear welcome you to our group and like to hear your story and share one special travel moment for you as well.
Yeah. Hello everyone. First, my English is not too much good. Sorry, because I was miss my school days because I was in sports. That's why. And after sports, I love to travel. So I start my journey from Russia because that time FIFA World Cup in Russia in 2018. So one of my friends say me, can we go to the for FIFA World Cup? So we will go there. That time visa was free for Indians. So we go there maybe for 15 days. After that I come back and I start my journeys, and that time I was not a vlogger. So after 2 or 3 years I start vlogging also, and I love to travel like countries like Afghanistan, Syria and Nigeria. So last year me and my friend was travel to, sorry, maybe. Okay, so I traveled to Nigeria, from Nigeria to Senegal by road, and that was my good experience. And going to Nigeria, I listen from people and listen from internet. Is Africa is like this, like that, but for me, it was very nice experience in Africa. So, yeah.
Right, thank you. A huge respect to you and Vishnu for taking some of the most difficult countries first. Most people, they
Yeah,
take, especially from Western countries, they start the first trip to Europe and then the Caribbean, and you guys go
yeah,
straight for the tough stuff first. You have plenty of places to go. They're easy when you get older. You can
yeah.
take your wife, you can take your aunties.
यार है ना, थोड़ा गलत अगर बोल जाऊं तो थोड़ा ट्रांसलेट कर देना है.
कोई दिक्कत नहीं भाई, कोई दिक्कत.
So sorry, I say to Vishnu, if I tell anything wrong, he can translate. Okay.
Oh, okay. No, you say everything was perfectly understandable. Thank you very much, Navdeep. Let me just say, when I grew up in the U.S. My mother's from Denmark, my father's American, but I grew up in the U.S. and all the kids in my high school had to read when we were 15 years old a book called Sidddhartha. Of course, it was the German author. Of course, the story of Sidddhartha Gautama, who becomes Buddha sitting under the tree in Bodh Gaya. So now I finally meet a Sidddhartha in person. Very, very nice to meet you, Sidddhartha. I've looked at your Instagram and your wonderful photos and also your videos. You have a beautiful eye for colors and textures and everything. So I'm looking forward to hear your travel story. What launched you on this passion towards capturing the world through the lens of a camera?
Oh, thanks a lot. And I'm really thankful to Hermann Hesse for making me so well known across the world, especially in the German speaking world. But hi, everyone. I'm Sidddharth. I am a full-time travel storyteller based in the city of Bangalore currently. My home keeps changing, so it's not really that fixed. I'm here at least for the next few months. So this is home. I've been doing this for a very long time. Actually, I started way back when the blogging world started. So I started as a travel blogger. So I was a writer first. I wrote for magazines, newspapers, of course, on my own blog. And then as the world moved slowly towards pictures and videos, I think my life kept changing as well. At least the way I created content kept changing. Though as a traveler, I continued to travel as I always did. In a way, I used my passion for travel, which I feel that I share with all of the panelists here. But it was fueled, or it was kind of funded by what I created, So that's been my journey. I had a full-time job. I'm an industrial designer. I worked with a Norwegian not-for-profit for about 10 plus years. So I earned good money, and I used a lot of that money to travel. And then I realized that the more I traveled, the more opportunities that came my way for traveling. I mean, work-wise. So I would travel a little on my own, but then I'll get a lot of projects to travel. And then eventually, with COVID happening, I ended up doing this full time now. So last 6 months or so, I'm trying to make a living out of my passion in a way. You asked me for a story which kind of has been very impactful. I would pick a collection of stories. So in 2015, I did a very interesting project where I traveled to about 6 countries and many, many cities in India. And I did a project which was a 365-day project. I called it Tell Me Your Dreams. And the idea was to speak to a new person every day and ask them for a dream. And I connected it with my travel stories. So I would go every day randomly, a new person on the street. And this I did wherever I went, whether it was Jordan and I was speaking to a Badoon, or I was talking to somebody in Switzerland. I made it a point to every day speak to somebody. And then I collated all of that later on. And I think for me, this was amazing because it helped me break my barriers in terms of how do you culturally, get out of your comfort zone and speak to complete strangers on the street. And then how do you then find this common thread, dreams, which doesn't actually change that much as you jump across geography. So in a way, for me, it was a strong reinforcement that how with travel you could come across these stories and connect these stories and build these bonds and connections globally of people who you think, somebody in somebody in Jordan in a village could think the same way as a rich cafe owner in Switzerland. So that was quite amazing and refreshingly eye-opening to me. So for me, that was my big aha moment, in a way reinforcement that, okay, what I'm doing is good because it's actually adding some value also, apart from giving me all the happiness.
Thank you, sir. I think that reminds us all, like some of the biggest takeaways in travel is really the stories we collect from others. And many times those stories are actually on the backdrop of that country. And we actually remember the things about the country, the stories that the people we tell us, the people along the way. So thank you for that, Sidddhartha. Now, I have a question which is sometimes one of our least favorite questions, because it's about, like people always say, what is your favorite country? And what are you going to say when you've seen so many beautiful places? Well, my question is a little bit different. I want to ask all of you, what is one country, not necessarily your favorite country, one country that you had little or no expectation from, and you came to that country and it blew your mind, like, wow, I had no idea. There's probably a lot of those. I mean, sometimes when you come in with no expectation, no information, you actually had the most positive surprise. But think of one or two countries like you think, wow, I had no idea. And it's good sometimes coming with a beginner mindset. Sometimes when I travel, I don't like to see images of the place I go. I want to just have a basic idea. I want to study the history, the background. I don't want to see images. Sometimes I go to a place and say, well, I never imagined. Ravi, kick us off for us.
I know the precise answer, but I cannot give that answer for obvious reasons. So I'll have to come up with another one. And what lately surprised me was absolutely Syria. After all the mishaps that have happened in Syria and all the global footprint that it has gotten, every news article, every news media, I was really worried and scared to enter Syria. But when I went into Syria, the city of Damascus, people buying or selling liquor in the center of the city of Damascus in Christian quarter was totally unheard of, or at least I did not hear of it. I mean, the idea of Syria is some kind of an autocratic government where there is Islamic terrorism or Islamic Sharia, but then you walk into the Christian quarter in Damascus and you get to buy liquor, people selling liquor on the footpath. That was really a surprising moment. And to meet people of Syria, the way they were really, really endearing, the way they came and spoke with us and spoke with me and connected, they invited me into their homes. It was totally, totally, totally something that I did not expect. I wasn't expecting. So Syria was one such story where I was really Uh, it was totally a positive reinforcement of
Mhm.
what it is when you travel. So Syria for me was really an eye opener.
Thanks, Ray. I think it's a good illustration of when you hear so much bad news from one place, we forget about what the reality is on the ground. I was in Syria 20 years ago and also had a wonderful experience on the street. People would yell across the street, "Ahlan sahlan, merhabtain, welcome, welcome, welcome," across the street, just to say, welcome to our country. Thanks for sharing, Ravi. Vishnu.
And I went all the way to Aleppo, Homs, everywhere I went.
Yeah, yeah.
Everywhere I went, the people were like inviting us into their homes. And if you're short on change, they say, "Hey, no money. You're a tourist. You're welcome in our country." Many places people refuse to take money. It was really, really an amazing story of Syria. I'm waiting to
Real
make videos. And
hospitality. Yeah.
yeah, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for sharing that. Vishnu, you've been to a lot of friendly places. You've been to a lot of
Um,
places that aren't so much the news. You probably have a number of
yeah.
surprising places you visit as well.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi bhai. I am really looking for Syria. To be honest, I haven't been there, but maybe looking forward to go in coming years. But I think for me, I think Tajikistan and I think Israel was one of the few countries which I had a really different opinion before, or probably had no opinion. But then when I went there, I was really surprised, specifically Tajikistan, because I had no idea how Tajikistan would be. I was crossing from Uzbekistan to Tajikistan. And especially I was backpacking in Tajikistan, and I really covered the whole M41 highway, which covers from like Dushanbe, and then you go from Pamir, and then you just go towards the China border stuff. And I really met really great people in Tajikistan, and I was really surprised by the landscape that country has, specifically the Pamir region, which is also not like a lot of tourists don't go in that region, but I went there, and I think that was something which was really interesting for me, just because of the people and because of the landscape, and yeah, just the experiences I had. Yeah, I think that was all about it. And I think Israel was something which is, for me, it was really controversial country, because I was listening to that country all the time in the news. But when I went there again, like such a good people, so nice vibe, especially the city of Tel Aviv. Really expensive though, but but it was really nice experience for me. Yeah.
And good examples. I think many times it's another illustration. So many of the places that are in the news are in the news for bad news. You don't see everyday life in Israel on the news. It's always something in the West Bank, in conflict with the Palestinians and the Gaza Strip. So not much news. That's good news on the news.
I just want to add a
Ravi.
point to Vishnu. The best part is you go to Israel, right? Israelis cannot go into Palestine, and
Yeah.
Palestinians that are on the list cannot go into Israel. You go
Right.
into Israel, and the warmth that you get from the Jews or in the kibbutz, right, is exactly
Yeah.
the same as the endearing response of what you get in Palestine. So these two people, these two entities, don't get along well with each other. These people are ready to kill each other, but then you, as a third party, go into Israel, the best hospitality. You cross into West Bank, exactly the same hospitality. So that's the
Yeah, I
ironical
think
story.
I 100% agree with Ravi Bhai, and it was really sad for me that I, being a foreigner, was having more freedom than the citizens of that country themselves, because I
Exactly.
can probably go to Palestine, I can probably go to Israel, but those people just cannot go to different parts of the country. But yeah, 100% agree with Ravi Bhai. Like, I was really greeted with such great warmth and hospitality, even when I was in Hebron, like that is one of the very intense places in Palestine. But again, like such a great people. And again, when I was in Tel Aviv, I was in Haifa, so great people. Again, yeah, I love that country.
Is Hebron the
This
city
is
with the ropeway that goes up the
Hebron
mountain?
is in the northern
uh,
Palestine. Like that's again has a
maybe it's
very complex
Haifa.
politics.
Haifa.
No,
Oh,
Haifa is
Haifa
in
is in the
Israel.
south.
Haifa is in
Oh,
Israel. No,
Yeah,
Haifa
yeah,
is in the north.
oh,
North,
Hebron.
north.
Hebron is in
Haifa,
Palestine and it's in the north. Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm not sure about the cable you're asking. I'm not sure.
Okay. And the
Yeah, I
best
think it's
part is
another.
when you enter Bethlehem, the big board saying
Yeah,
Israeli citizens are not allowed to step in, and that's from the Israel side, not from the Palestine side.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, there's people have more in common than we actually imagine, and as a third-party observer, we can actually see it. The one thing they agree on, though, Israelis and Palestinians, that what is good hummus. That's a general consensus. What hummus tastes good. So that's at least they agree on that. Navdeep, I've looked at some of your videos. I see you have a video about Tajikistan.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't want to mention that country. So what is your example of a country that really, really surprised you when you finally arrived?
I think my answer was same like Ravi bhai, because before Sri Lanka, I was in Syria, and before going to Syria, I'm very scared because in news like Syria is this or that. But when I entering in Syria, the people are very friendly. Some people are like this. They say me, they come to me and they say me, we don't have money but we have big heart. So one time I was very like is like emotional. So it's very amazing and very surprising country, Syria. People are very friendly, and it's totally different from we watch in media and all. Yes, Syria is very amazing. And
Sure, I think we are. I think anyone who's been there always says the same thing. I mean, what warm, hospitable, welcoming people.
yeah, it's very, very, very warm welcoming. I was in Aleppo, and one lady come to me in market. She's like 60 or 70 year old lady, and she said to me, "Please turn your camera on me, and I want to say to the people, come to Syria, and we are your brothers, we are your sisters, like that." And that time I was also emotional, got emotional. So because Syrian peoples are very, very nice, but all things are happen there are not good for the maybe Syrian peoples.
Yeah, thank you. Last but not least, Sidddhartha.
All right, so I would pick Rwanda as the country that really surprised me, and I think that just comes from my prejudices, maybe, having seen the movie and having read about the genocide when I was there. I first didn't think the country would be so safe, but I decided to still travel in public transportation using the buses to travel around. And I was just so shocked at how amazing the place is, how safe the place is, and how welcoming people are. And I think that really, in a way, in my head, broke this whole myth about Africa being not so safe. And I realized that this is actually it's a shame that we think it's not that way. Whatever I did, all the activities I did, the friends I made, I was invited home to eat meals with my guide's family. Or it is expensive sometimes. Some activities could be pricey, but I think the wealth of experiences that you collect there, I think, are just phenomenal. So I would say that, and maybe and I keep hearing about Syria all the time. I think that's one country that's so high on my list of places to travel to. But you also kind of, and I don't know, maybe other panelists have this impression or not, but with a passport which is stamped with these countries, let's say Syria or Iran, it is sometimes challenging to get a visa for a Western country sometimes. So that's one of the things that goes on in some people's minds.
Not true.
So I have a very recent
Not true,
example of
Siddharth.
a
It's just a
friend
myth.
who was
It's
denied a US
absolutely not
visa
an issue.
because she traveled to Russia, and they said, because that the only question,
hear
they
me?
don't tell you why not, but the only question they asked was, why did you go to Russia? And in the end, they're like, sorry, we can't give you a visa. So this is just connecting dots, and I'm not sure if this matters, but for a lot of people, it doesn't matter. And I know for a lot of travelers, it doesn't matter, because if they can show their credentials properly to show that this is why they do this, what they do. But that's definitely one of the things that I do think about when I think about, oh, do I want to go to Iran? Of course, I want to go to Iran. It's one of the oldest civilizations in the world. It's one of the richest possible history that you can find, and Mesopotamia, and these are the places that I want to go to. But let's see. Really nice to hear all the positive things from Ravi, Vishnu, and everyone about these
But
places.
you can travel to Iran, Siddharth. Like they don't stamp in your passport, so it's fine.
I know they staple a visa, and then I just pretend on the application form I didn't go to any of these countries. Let's see what happens if I go to Iran.
Okay,
but yeah.
now.
Yeah, I also the immigration officer, please put stamp on my passport, because if I apply for American visa or any other visa, I don't tell lie to the immigration. They say, oh, no problem, you can go. We did not stamp on your passport. They stamp on just a paper.
Yeah.
And
But I think
have
also,
that
if
paper.
if I can add to what Siddharth said, I think it's not really true that if you really travel to these countries, you will have any problems with any of the US or big visas. It really depends on your own personal experience. But if you are really traveler, like you have really been to a lot of countries, and all, then also the interviewer who is taking your interview also knows that you're a traveler, and that's kind of your work, and you just want to travel the world. So I don't think there should be an issue from my
I,
own
I, I
perspective.
I agree, Vishnu. I think for the panelists, the kind of people we are sitting right now here together, for us, I don't think it should. I'm not worried about my US visa so much.
Yeah.
But I feel that that's definitely a concern for people who don't do that often. Let's say somebody just has a
Yeah.
vacation to do, and they do one country, and if that one
Right.
country is Iran, and the next country is US, the fear exists. I mean, that's,
But
I know we are diverging from what we're discussing, but this is just something so interesting, because I would love to travel to all these places, and I feel like, am I doing myself an injustice by not going there? Because I worry about this imaginary visa in future.
But Siddharth, if
I
at all
think
you
actually,
want to come to the US, I'll send you a personal letter of invitation and you'll get a visa. Do not worry, because
No. Frankly, I've
I'll
just
send you a
applied for a
sponsorship
visa.
letter.
It's gonna
Yeah.
take a while in India, because
what the advantage
visas
if you
are
have a
so
social media presence, if you have a social media presence, you can say, I'm going to all countries, therefore I can't miss this country, and this is my social media name. You can find me. I'm part of a group of people that travel all countries, and that's why I'm traveling to Afghanistan, Iran. Not that I wanted to go there, not that I wanted to go to Syria. I was forced to go, but that's more part of the club. So that's one
because
way.
my on the list.
Even as American, I go to the U.S. Sometimes they look at me very seriously. Why are you coming to the U.S.? I said, I'm coming for Christmas. So, okay. So, so I say even with Americans, sometimes Americans after 9/11 have become really, really serious, and it's really unpleasant, even for people of many different nationalities. But now, one question: we're talking specifically about the Indian experience, and we all know there's a challenge with visas. But I'm actually going to ask you a different type of question about a unique story that you can share traveling abroad, that it happened because you were Indian, that you had an
Oh, wow.
interesting conversation or
There would be
experience, you
many.
met someone, you were invited to something, that they all because you were Indian. If you can remember a special experience that only happened because you were Indian. Ravi, maybe you can start with that. Something you can think of, like, wow, because I was Indian, something special happened, especially good.
I really can't think through, but I have to switch back to the Israel and Palestine
Uh,
experience. Everywhere you walk through in Palestine, they call you Hindi, welcome to our home, because when the
uh,
Intifada 1 and Intifada 2 were happening, and Yasser Arafat was leading the Palestine Liberation Organization at that moment, and then there was really strict some kind of a ban, but India welcomed all the Palestinian people, and they were studying in the colleges and universities for free.
mhm.
And people of Palestine absolutely they adored it, because India had a policy where they were friends with Israel and friends with Palestine, at least nowadays. So every time you walk through Palestine, be it Hebron, like he said, or Ramallah, or Bethlehem, wherever you walk, they say Hindi. I mean, address you as a
Okay,
Hindi, meaning Indian. They
in a
specifically call you
positive
a Indian
sense.
guy. Indian
Yeah,
guy,
uh-huh.
come over. So
Sure.
that, I think that
Mhm.
is pretty unique. And even in the Russian republics, right? You have 15 ex-Soviet republics. It doesn't matter, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, even in Turkmenistan. So I was in Ashgabat just last month. So there was a Turkmen event, and they were playing Hindi songs out there. So the moment
Mhm.
you see an Indian, Indians are held with utmost respect. They really consider them very close. Any of the Soviet republics you go to, it doesn't matter, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, they always call you India. They still remember people like Raj Kapoor and Amitabh Bachchan. And the songs they were
Uh-huh.
playing, half of them were Hindi
The
songs.
Bollywood. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Bollywood,
That's
50% was Bollywood songs. It was a street fair, and 50%
uh-huh.
was Turkmen local songs. So
Oh,
those
okay,
two.
that's
So
great.
15 Soviet republics, and then uh, Palestine, for example.
Okay, great.
There you go.
Vishnu, what about you?
So I need to say about the difficulties I face, right, while traveling with Indian passport, isn't it?
No.
No. Actually, we know that's like a big challenge. We're actually talking about the specifically unique, positive, special things that when you show up and they say you're Indian and the reception you receive that is especially good being an Indian.
Um, Sorry, I just didn't understand the question.
Oh, do
I'm
you
really
have any
sorry.
special story to share about when you show up in some place, you have a unique, special, good experience because you come from India?
Okay, so I think when we travel, the biggest good thing being an Indian passport is Bollywood. I think because everybody knows Bollywood, and the moment you say that you're from India, they say Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, like the old 80s actors and actresses. So this is, I think, the best experience of me being from India, I guess, because we just connect everywhere through Bollywood, and if we are traveling in Asia, then we probably connect with sport like cricket. So I think, yeah, this is the best experience
Okay.
of mine. Yeah.
Did they ever confuse you with a Bollywood actor? Not yet. Okay. Navdeep, what do you say?
Yeah, many countries like this, and India is one of them. One of them. Is India have no enemies in the world. When I was travel in Africa, in Arab, so people think, oh, he's from India because of my turban and my beard.
Yeah.
They come. They don't ask to me like this. Where are you from? They ask me where are you from? Which city from India? They
Oh,
asking me
it's
like,
almost like you
oh,
have an Indian flag on your forehead. Everybody knows you're
yeah,
from
yeah,
India, guaranteed. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Everyone know I am from India. So they come to me and ask me, oh, you from Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta. So like this. So
Uh-huh.
it's yeah, these type of experience are very good for me. And India have no enemies, so that everyone is everyone friendly with as an Indian.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
100% agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Siddhartha, what has your experience been?
So this was in Norway. I was couch surfing with the family, and I realized later that and perhaps this was the reason they actually even hosted me, is that they were huge fans of Indian food. So the day I reached, they're like, "Oh, good, great." Met up with everyone. They're like, "So what are you gonna cook for us?" So I was like, "Okay, let's do." But they had everything at home. They had all the masalas, all the spices that we use, and we made some amazing food together and gave them all authentic. I'm a decent cook, so thankfully it went well. But I realized how big a thing Indian food is outside, and how welcome I was at home because I was from India and I could cook and knew so much about the food that we make. So I think food was, in my case, the binder. And of course, Bollywood in Central Asia, ex-Soviet countries, it's big, as everybody said. It's all over. I mean, the moment they see
So,
you, they start playing all disco dancer songs and everything.
do you
Yeah.
travel at all with some spices so you can cook a little bit when you're on the road for your hosts?
No, I don't. But I travel often with small gifts, and those could be
Oh,
spices.
okay. Because you could travel with your little curry spices and spice up a few of the local food. No.
Most of the times, I don't eat Indian food if I'm traveling outside. I would
Oh, okay, sure.
absolutely skip it if I can, and just eat
Okay.
local. I'm a vegetarian, so the options are limited in a way. But I still try to eat local rather than make Indian food.
Well, I think certainly Indian food is a great ambassador of the country. I live in the country whose national dish is now chicken tikka masala, the UK. So the Indian food has come far and wide. It's certainly improved the British food.
Yeah,
Okay.
and masala chai also.
Of course, masala chai. Okay. One last thing we're going to discuss right now is something that I'm actually very curious about because like I said earlier, you missed it, Navdeep. I said traveling to India and going to 4 or 5 regions is like going to an Indian restaurant having 2 or 3 dishes. India is such a hugely diverse, rich country in so many ways. So I'm going to ask all of you 1 or 2 of your favorite places to visit in India, favorite natural places or city architecture in any sense, Place you have been to, and maybe one place that you haven't been to that you're planning to go to in India. Ravi. Let me before Ravi responds. I've seen Ravi's map on Nomad Media, and he seems to have been everywhere in this beautiful, huge country of India. So that's why he has so many. His mind is spinning. How can I choose less than 10 places that are my favorite places? Go ahead, Ravi.
So
It doesn't have to be in Telangana or AP. It could be out of AP as well.
No, but there's one important place that many Indians may not know, may not
Okay.
be having a good idea about, or most Indians may not have even visited. The reason, I mean, I find it, I pondered many times. The moment you talk about India, somehow the first masterpiece that comes to anybody's vision is the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal was built in 1600s. I don't remember the exact year, maybe 1656, 1650 something. So recently, I traveled to Ellora Caves, and there is a place called the Kailasha Temple. This temple was built by the Rashtrakuta kings, I believe. I'm just uh, I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm drawing a blank. But this particular place, the Kailasha Temple, was sometime in the 7th century, so which is approximately 900 years older than the Taj Mahal. And I've been to Lalibela. There's a place in Ethiopia, in the uplands of Ethiopia, which is famous for rock cut churches. There are 11 or 12 rock cut churches, and these were built in the 13th century AD. So to find something 900 years older, or compared to 1300, sorry, 600 years older, and to see this rock cut temple of Kailasha, I think this is truly a world wonder. And if India needs to be represented, I'm not taking any biases. I found this particular temple to be very intricate and really awesome, and it struck me out of words, because I was really surprised at the workmanship or the master craftsmanship of how this whole temple was carved from a rock, from a mountainside. And I honestly thought that the Kailasha temple is probably an architectural marvel that really needs to be synonymous with the name India, because this
Sure.
is the oldest structure, oldest intricate, and oldest difficult structure that I've seen across India. So the Kailasha temple in Ellora Caves.
Thanks. And one place you haven't been to yet that you'd like to go to?
I've been to, there are 28 states now, now that Kashmir is a union territory. Out of the 28 states, I've not been to a few states in the Northeast. The place I really want to visit is Nagaland. And
Okay.
to visit Nagaland is a little difficult because you need something called an inner line permit. Even for Indian citizens, they need to apply for an inner line permit to visit certain states like Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram. That's the belt. And the fact that I hold a foreign passport makes it a little more difficult. And also on the top, you see that the white space. It's called Arunachal Pradesh. So these are the places I'm really looking forward to: Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram. These 4 states I'm
Okay.
really looking forward to, and I can't wait to go, to find an opportunity to visit them.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to mention one thing. It's like many times the places that are our favorite places are not the places that are so well known, because everybody knows the Taj Mahal and you have a very high expectation. You go there, it's impressive, but you know it's going to be impressive. It's nice those places like Kailash.
Have,
That
have you
you
been to the
really
Kailash
don't.
temple?
No, I haven't.
Have you been?
I've written it down. I'll go there for sure. No, thank you very much. So it's great when there's places that you don't really know much about, and your expectations are low, and you come in, you're blown away. So a good example.
And in India is littered with many
Sure,
temples and
yeah. Mm-hmm.
architectural marvels. I've seen Siddharth. There's a place called Pattadakal and Badami, so forth in Karnataka. These are really awesome places. But somehow I feel very disappointed when when you talk about India, and the first thing that comes to your mind is the Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is amazing.
They've
It's
got a
amazing.
good PR campaign. They've got a good
There
PR
you go.
campaign.
No,
Everybody knows Taj Mahal.
it's an amazing place, but then I personally think there are many structures that are
Sure.
far more superior to the Taj Mahal, keeping in mind the timeline. Like, for example, the Kailasha temple was built 900 years before the Taj Mahal. So there you go.
Yeah, sure. Vishnu.
For me, I think, especially, I really loved the Seven Sisters, especially in Northeast India. I think that part of India is something which is really different. Like me being born in that part, like I've been born in Assam, so and also I've
Mm.
stayed in that region for quite a long time because my dad used to serve there. So I think Nagaland, Mizoram, and these Seven Sisters states is something which really fascinates me, and I think if I would probably recommend any traveler, then I would probably recommend that person to go to that region,
Hmm.
and I think that is something which I am really excited uh, all the time, like Northeast India. And one place which
Hopefully you
I
could
would want to go is I think it would be Andaman and Nicobar Islands.
Andaman, not the North Sentinel Island, no, just Andaman Island. Okay. Oh, okay. Very good. Maybe you can help our friend get to Nagaland with your internal contacts there. Maybe one day
No,
you can get there too.
I think it is fine. Like I'm not sure how it is for foreigners, but for Indians, it's not a issue to get the ILP, the
Hmm.
inner line permit. These days,
Hmm.
it might be a bit issue because of some problems in that region, but normally it's not a problem. Like travelers usually go there, and
But Vishnu, to go to Arunachal, you need an inner line permit and something else as well. Because I was recently in Meghalaya, I went to Guwahati, the Arunachal office, and they said I not only need an inner line permit, but you need a different permit because I hold a foreign passport. Do you know what it is?
I'm not really sure about foreign passport Ravi bhai, but I think ILP just make the work done, I guess. आप बता दो आपको आइडिया है इसके बारे में नवदीप भाई.
But it's okay. We can move this
Yeah. Okay.
part. Yeah.
All right, Navdeep.
I
Navdeep,
think
any special favorite places for you? You hear me okay, Navdeep?
he can't hear us.
Well, let me. I'll switch for the moment to Siddhartha then. Any special favorite places in India, special ones that aren't so well known?
Hello.
Hello.
Has everybody dropped
Okay,
or what?
we got you back, Ravi and Vishnu.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did you lose the other two
Okay.
folks?
Yeah. Hopefully they're coming back soon.
So,
I just
so
want to
Vishnu,
say,
I mean,
okay, we got
yeah,
this is
sorry.
Siddhartha. Okay.
Uh, Maybe I didn't hear you properly. What was that one place in India that you think is number one? I mean,
Number
some place that everybody should see or everybody should have an idea about.
I said Seven Sisters, like the
Okay,
Seven Sister states in the Northeast.
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
No, I heard that, but is there a specific place? One,
Uh, I
one,
think
one.
I think there is not a specific place. I think I probably would want everybody to go to Nagaland. I think Nagaland, but in general, like all seven states from my
Okay.
side.
It's the whole region then. Okay. Siddhartha, good to have you back. Well, welcome.
Hi, sorry, my camera just disconnected. Anyway, so
Okay.
quickly to answer your question, I think it's my favorite place in India as well as in the world. If I was to pick just one place, it would be Kashmir, and it's a fairly big
Okay.
region, of course. So, but I would say that all of it is really beautiful and with the best experiences, with the best people, and the most warmest, kindest. Uh, my life experience, travel experiences. And I traveled there a long time back. I traveled there in 2015 for the first time. Sorry, not 2015, 2005. That was my first trip there. And I did a very interesting project back then on exploring the temples of Kashmir. So I hopped on to many, many different temples. And these are not very well known places or not so much back in the days. So I had to literally, there was no internet, frankly, that I could use on the go. So I had a
Mhm.
guidebook with me, which was this ASI published books, which is Archaeological Survey of India published book. So looking at the maps there, hand drawn maps, and going to these places, these temples. So that was my first exposure to the state, and I realized how amazing and misunderstood it was. And I fell in love, and I'm still in love. I go there almost every year once. So that's the place I
Okay.
would say that is really my favorite wherever one place across the world. And the place that I want to go to, it's not a place, I would say it's a collection of places. So I want to do this, and it's been on my mind for a while. I want to do this project on the temples of South India, which are sadly the oldest temples. I mean, temples in North India don't really exist. The older temples don't really exist anymore. They're kind of gone, raised or whatever. But the temples in South do exist, and they are quite old. There's temples as far back as 6th, 7th century, 7th century onwards. There are tons of temples. So I want to do this project covering temples of South India. Yeah, Madurai is actually my next. I just came from there, so I'm working on a project that I shot there. So I want to create really meaningful stories and content around these places, which is a travel content, but also educational in a way, which tells you about the history, tells you about architecture, tells you about culture, foods, and those kind of things. But a little bit more, not just my experiences, me walking around, but really talking to experts there. So I usually work with organizations like Intact, which is maybe some of you might be familiar with, or historians to give me perspective instead of doing just online research. So for these places, I really want to go deep into understanding. This is like a passion project for me that I'm really looking forward to do. So this is my dream if I could do that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Navdeep, you come back just in time, Navdeep.
Yeah.
And one of your favorite places or a place that really positively surprised you within India?
Yeah, definitely Punjab is my favorite place. But after Punjab is Andaman and Nicobar. It's a small island territory of India.
Sure.
Because Punjab and India have, when Indian freedom fighters are in jail in Andaman, and some of them are in army and in police, and they are from Punjab and they are from Bengal, and now these families, their families are living in Andaman. So I've been to Andaman, and it was a very amazing experience. And when I visit to the Andaman Central Jail, so I feel our freedom fighters was in prison in this prison. So yeah, Andaman is a really nice place, and nice beaches as well is there. Yeah, so it's my favorite place.
Okay, good. And what is a place you haven't been to that you would very much like to go to within India?
I think is Nagaland and Manipur. I did not visit to Nagaland and Manipur. I've been to Mizoram, and Mizoram is it's an amazing place, and I want to visit Nagaland and Manipur. Maybe
Vishnu,
this year, not. Yeah.
Well,
maybe
Vishnu,
next
it seems like you.
Yeah.
It seems Vishnu is very lucky to come to such a beautiful place and so many people want to go to. So hopefully one day I can also go to the Northeast as well.
Yeah.
So
welcome.
we're sort of wrapping up with this round of questions. I think we may have some questions from the audience. I don't know if they're going to appear on the screen here, or maybe while we're waiting, do you have any questions to ask of each other? You haven't really met you guys in person. Any questions you can think of you want to ask of each other? Go ahead.
So probably to Navdeep, since Libya and Venezuela are the only two countries pending for me, and recently I came to know that you visited Libya. So I just wanted to hear about your experiences of Libya. And did you just go to Tripoli and Leptis Magna, or did you travel through Libya besides these two places?
I did not been to Libya. Still,
okay.
I plan to be in. I plan to visit Libya, but still I did not been to Libya.
Okay, so with Navdeep Navankur, I thought you went with Navankur. Maybe I was mistaken. Sorry.
No. Navankur is also did not been to Libya also. Yeah.
Navankur? No, I saw.
We are planning to. Yeah.
No, I saw a post on his Instagram in Libya. That's why I was asking. A story.
I don't know, but we are planning, but still we did not got our visas.
Okay.
I want to mention there's been some news this last week from Libya. It used to have visa on arrival. Now it's changed back to having getting through the embassy. Did you get that news, Ravi?
Yeah.
I got it, but I got visa on arrival. Luckily, thank God. So the policy changed after I received my visa.
Okay, you're very lucky to that higher power that helped you there.
Very lucky. because
visa.
going
There's
to the
such a
Libyan,
visa. Getting the visas is a moment of anxiety,
I did
especially in the
not
last couple of
think
countries.
I was going to get it. I applied
Yeah.
4 months ago. They told me it takes 4 weeks, and it took me 4 months, and finally I got the visa. And it's a letter of invitation, so I do not need a visa. I just send the flight information and then land in Tripoli. So I'm really excited. September.
Where you planning to go in Libya? Just to
Actually,
Tripoli or?
no, originally I was on the 8-day tour, Ubari Lakes,
Yeah.
Misrata, everywhere. But then this visa got approved. It's a 3-day tour. So primarily Tripoli and then Leptis
So
Magna. I really wanted to see
Yeah,
Leptis Magna.
I've been to Libya maybe 5 or 6 times because I used to
Oh,
work with
lucky.
tourism in Libya. In 20
Oh,
years ago, I was one of the first Americans to go. I came from Italy by boat to Tunisia, went through Libya, then traveled through across North Africa, through Syria, came across the Middle East. And I met a guy in Tripoli. He says, "You want to help me build my business? Because now the Americans are coming the first time in 20 years. You can bring many American groups." So I started bringing big groups from the U.S., Stanford Alumni Association, Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard Vargas Museum, and I would work out of Milan, better quality of life. And with big groups, I'd fly to Tripoli to receive important groups. So I'd go back from time to time. I've been to the desert. I've been to the east. But Libya is a wonderful country. For me, the most friendly people in my trip to the North Africa, Middle East was Syria and Libya. People, but of course, even after the war in Syria, people are still friendly. I think even after the war in Libya, people will be welcoming and they'll see you. Ahlan wa sahlan, merhabtain, welcome. That's the way in these countries. So you're going to be I'm looking forward to hear about your experience in Libya.
The only problem with Libya is you need a police and military escort, and they need to follow you everywhere. So I won't have the freedom. I mean, there is one military officer and one police following you, and then this is what you get. I mean, can't help it. Have you been to the Ubari Lakes? Ubari Lakes, is that
Yeah, sure. I've been down the South Sapa, the Oasis. I camped in the desert. Libya in the south is absolutely amazing. So
yeah, I really wanted. I was really on this Nomad Mania trip. It starts on September 13th. It was an 8-day tour. I was really excited, but then the other visa got approved. I didn't want to take a chance of playing a second time, and both of them get cancelled. Then I'm screwed. I don't want to lose my 194. So there you go.
Yeah, we got a question on the screen there for you, Ravi, because you're the India-US specialist. It says, what is your favorite food? Probably not American food. What's your favorite place in the US? Since you're a resident Indian American.
My favorite food, I often say, is sushi. I eat a lot of Japanese food at least 2 to 3 times a week. I'm sorry, 2 to 3 times a week. So I cannot do without sushi. But I wouldn't name the Indian food because this is our daily staple. We eat rice and Indian food every day. So that would be a norm. It's not an exception.
Yeah.
So that's why sushi. And then my favorite.
What is your favorite naan? What's your favorite naan? Do you like galag naan, Peshawari naan, butter naan?
I'm a South Indian. I'm not into naans. You should ask that question too.
Dosa. Okay.
Yeah. So and favorite place in the US. I've been to all 50 states in the US. Really fortunate as well. If I have to pick one place that really makes it beautiful, I would say Mount McKinley. I took this plane and then landed on the glacier. 3,000 meters, I believe, or 3,000 feet. I cannot remember. I have a big vlog as well. So I would really suggest the glacier landing on Mount McKinley in Alaska.
I was in Alaska last week. It was my last state number 50. So I finally caught up with you, Ravi. I finally caught up with you.
Very good. Have you been to Talkeetna and stuff? Talkeetna.
Yeah, I took the train from Fairbanks down to so I passed through Talkeetna, Fairbanks to Anchorage.
Okay, got it.
Since we got these other people with us, I'd like to ask them.
Yeah, sure.
Any favorite foods for you, Vishnu, that are not Indian?
Favorite food which is not Indian?
Yeah, which is not Indian, of course.
Oh wow, I need to think of this.
All right.
The other guys can go and probably I can answer.
Yeah, we'll ask Sidddhartha. What do you think, Sidddhartha? What's your favorite food that's not Indian?
That's easy for me. I mean, also because I'm vegetarian. I think I really like Italian food
Oh,
because
okay,
there is
okay.
just so much for me also to eat there without having to ask for anything special. There's a lot of,
Mhm.
and also Middle Eastern food has tons of vegetarian things to eat.
Oh, okay. The hummus, baba ganoush, the falafel, and everything. And Navdeep, what about your favorite food that's not Indian?
Yeah, I am also vegetarian and I love to eat falafel. So falafel is my
Okay.
favorite food, Indian food. Yeah, and hummus also.
Yeah.
So yeah, falafel is one of my favorite food.
Hmm. All
Yeah,
right.
so my
And
my favorite
back
food
to
would
Vishnu.
be, I think, from this region of Lebanon, Israel. So the food which the countries these eat with a lot of hummus, a lot of olive oil. I think I
Yeah.
really love the food in the region which around here, like
What
Israel,
are baba
Lebanon.
ganoush? Baba
I'm not
ganoush.
sure.
Baba.
There's a cuisine which there's a name for that food, but I can't really get that. If you guys can help me with that.
Do you know? Do you like baba ganoush?
Yes, yes,
It's
of
an
The
course.
eggplant. Eggplant. Yeah, yeah.
eggplant.
So the
Eggplant. Yes.
regional, yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah. So I
Hmm.
think I really love the food from this region.
So, what's your favorite food and what's your favorite place? We've been talking. You should tell us as well. Time to question the host.
Oh, okay. So okay. Actually,
Can you hear
that's
me?
it. Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Oh,
It's funny because I lived in also Italy for 4 years, and so there's certain foods like I'm fine having once a week. There are certain foods you can eat every single day for a month, and those would be I could eat Italian every day for a month, Thai food, Japanese, and also I'm looking forward to go much deeper into Indian food. I have this dream that I would be locked in an Indian restaurant for an entire month, where I could work through the entire menu, aista, step by step, and go much deeper in understanding what exists in the Indian cuisine. Because usually, if you go to a restaurant every once a month, you go to the dishes you like the palak paneer, with the la masala, the peshawari naan, those things. I get that over and over again. But I wish I would be locked in a restaurant for an entire month and I could go through 100 dishes one by one. That's my food
very good.
fantasy.
And what's your favorite place in India? I mean, I guess you've been to India, so you've seen a little part of India. So
I'd say, I mean, I've taken 2 trips in. My first one was Beijing to Bangalore. I came through Amritsar, then Dharamsala, then Chandigarh, then Rishikesh, Delhi, Mumbai, Goa, Karnataka, Bangalore, and another trip I went to Bodh Gaya, to Patna, Bihar, Varanasi, and I've actually Varanasi for me was a magical moment because it was at the same time as the Kumbh Mela.
okay,
And
Oh,
so you had all the pilgrims, many pilgrims came to Varanasi, and you feel this sort of mystic, magical element in the air. And so a city like Varanasi, you have a lot of tourists. The tourists don't even seem to exist when you have the city full of pilgrims with a strong belief in their mind. It seems like the tourists, you didn't even see them. You just felt the energy of the place. And I've really just scratched the surface of India, and I just like to scratch the surface of Indian food. So I look forward to go much deeper in this rich buffet, which is India.
so Siddhartha, is Kumbh Mela in Varanasi or Allahabad?
Well,
Prayagraj, I
we know
mean.
that Allahabad, but it was close. It was close to Varanasi.
Yeah,
They had the
Prayagraj,
big
right?
one,
I
Allahabad,
just wanted. Yeah,
but it
yeah.
was
Okay.
it was close enough that you had many of the pilgrims would also come to Varanasi at the same time,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so
No, no.
Varanasi was full of pilgrims. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure my thinking was right or wrong.
Yeah, I
The
think they
Kumbh
have
Mela
three
is
different. It rotates between 3 different places. The Kumbh Mela.
okay. Okay.
Um, four places. Okay, thanks for correcting me, Sid. I have much to learn. I much
No,
aista
no, no, no. I
learn
just
more
wanted to
about
make sure.
Indian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very good.
Well, I think we budget actually 1 hour for this, and if we
Okay.
have no more questions from the crowd, or if you have any other questions for each other, we could sort of slowly start to wrap up. I mean, anyone like us who travels like we've done, we could sit down around a table with many dishes of tasty Indian food and talk for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours and not run out of things to say. So, any other
Very
questions
nice.
for each other?
So Vishnu, I spoke with Vishnu a few times. I think during his travels through Sudan and South Sudan. So Vishnu, bro, I look forward to traveling with you sometime. So I'm slowly or very soon I'm going to finish all 195. So you name a place and I'll travel with you. So what's on your agenda next?
Agenda.
Like
Like
a few places coming
now
up.
I'm in Europe. I'm in Germany now. I think I would be like coming weeks. I will be in Europe, and then I would be in Abu Dhabi, and then from there I have no idea. Like I
Yeah,
might go to
Europe is
Africa.
boring, man. It's the same routine, you know.
Yeah, like I'm in
Seriously.
Germany for a few days. Like Germany is it's good when you have good people, but people are a little cold here, so it's not really good to socialize. But it's okay. It's nice. Like I will be in France, and then I'll be in Netherlands, France, Belgium, and then from Italy I probably would go and fly to Abu Dhabi. Yeah, that's the plan.
Abu Dhabi is also routine, you know, nothing special.
Yeah, but I don't have to say anything. But the only thing I always say to all the Indian travelers is that it's 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 only us with our passport who knows like how struggling it is to travel around the world. And I always feel grateful that when I see like crazy travelers traveling around, paying a lot of money and going to embassies all the time for the visas.
Hmm.
Also, it's so humbling because it's really new to our Indian subcontinent to travel because I'm not really sure if we used to travel before, but these days we are getting opportunity by working and being a digital nomad and traveling around the world. So it just really feel nice to talk to other fellow Indian travelers.
So Vishnu, when I had an Indian passport, I traveled on an Indian passport approximately 100 countries. And then when I was complaining of the same, somebody from Iran
Hmm.
who was sitting next to me, they asked, "You should be super glad that you have an Indian passport. Just imagine having an Iranian passport." So it's always how you look at it, you know.
Relative. It's really like Einstein
Yeah,
said,
It's
I think
everything
always
is
I think
relative.
if you
relative.
really want to travel, I think you anyway travel because even with our passport, I won't say it's as hard as Iranians or some other passport, but I think you have to go to the embassy and it's really very tiring, and it's only us who understands the pain, and so we
Exactly.
just go through it.
I used to apply for the Schengen visas. Though I was a
Yeah.
resident of the US, I still have to send them my bank statements, hotel statement, hotel
Yeah.
itinerary,
Hmm.
funds. I know it's painful. I understand. We've
Hmm.
been there, done that. So
We've received one message, a question for you, Ravi, about your experience traveling to. Someone said that you traveled to Makkah.
just some
Is that?
hater poking.
Oh,
Just
okay,
ignore it.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
you
Um,
don't understand the nuances. So
sure. Oh, okay, sure, sure. Okay, I figured there was some backstory there. But
exactly,
maybe
exactly.
we can wrap this up. I think Vishnu made a very nice message for the Indian travelers in general. Maybe we could just go by and wrap up. You first, you Ravi, then Navdeep and Siddhartha, and sort of a message to Indian travelers out there, a message of encouragement. I mean, a lot of people are traveling now. Indians are looking up to all four of you, and maybe a message or advice to Indian travelers. Ravi.
So I mean, travel is like a new fashion thing for India, I believe. Like when I started traveling 15, 20 years ago, there weren't a lot of people that were really keen on exploring places, and travel was also very difficult then because of the visas and not having a smartphone, not having access to information. I used to go to the library, find books, jot maps. Jot places, write notes, and then go on MapQuest and so forth,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
blow up the maps and find directions. So travel isn't that difficult anymore. If you have a smartphone, you have some cash and a passport, you can travel anywhere you want. And then this travel fever is really catching up with Indians. I've seen a sea change over the past 10 years. So if and this is the message, the blank message I want to give everybody is, if I could travel, if I could travel across the nook and corner of the world, you can as well. So I started off with the humble beginnings as well. So please do not look at my status now and say, "Oh, Ravi is well off" and so forth. No, we had to traverse through many stages of life to be where I am right now. So if I can do it,
Mhm.
you can do it as well. So honestly, take their hat off and start exploring places, and you can do it. This is my message
Thank you.
to all India.
Thank you. Very good. And Navdeep, a message for Indian travelers of encouragement, of inspiration, of advice.
Yeah, world is very beautiful, bro. And get out from our houses, get out from houses, and yeah, take flight and go to any country. The world is very
Yeah.
beautiful. This is my just small message.
Yeah, very good, nice. And Vishnu, well, also to Vishnu, then we'll finish with Siddhartha. Vishnu, what is your message, advice, encouragement, inspiration
Um,
for fellow travelers out there?
Wow, I don't have any advice. I would just say that just travel. I think traveling is really nice. For me, traveling has been a very great, like it's been a teacher, and it just teaches me a lot of things which I haven't taught, like haven't learned anywhere around in my experience. So I think it's a really great way to learn and explore yourself and understand yourself. You get through different phases while traveling, like a traveler like me who travels all the time. I think you live life while traveling, so it really helps you, you know, build yourself. So I think it's really nice. I think people should just get out of the comfort zone and just get out of the city first, and then as they start traveling just one state another state from the state they are from, probably slowly they will start traveling abroad, and then this will just go on. And this is the same journey for me as well. Like I just traveled in India initially, and then slowly started to travel abroad. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think the only
So,
problem with most of them is that they just don't get out of the comfort zone, and
sure.
then that's how things get worse.
But good point. We expand the comfort zone, so ice to ice, step by step, and our comfort zone becomes so big it covers the entire world. Siddhartha.
I echo what Vishnu just said about traveling. How I think we all started our journeys like that. So start slow, start small, start with your neighborhood, start where you are, state, your city. But also, if you want to do international travel, I would still say that same thing. Start in the neighborhood. India has really good visa relationship with a lot of our neighbors, not all, but most of our neighbors, and visas are quite easy to get nowadays. I mean, I was in Kazakhstan, and there's no visa. You don't even need anything at all to go there. All you need is a passport, and the multiple countries now like that. So start small, plan in advance so you can save costs if money is a concern. But stepping out, traveling is going to be a life-changing experience. Whether you do it alone, you do it with the family or with your friends, whatever. But just traveling. And the other thing is, if you travel, just make sure that you just don't stay in a silo. Have an open mind, talk to people. That's really important. I think the whole point of traveling to a new country would be to learn something from it, to build experiences that will help you in some way, change your life, add value to their lives, people you're meeting. So just be open-minded to interact with locals. I think that's something that we miss out on sometimes. So I would really say that do it if you're out there. It's not easy, it's not comfortable if you're doing it for the first time, but still do it. That's gonna make your travels really memorable, magical.
Yeah, excellent. Let me just use a word that Vishnu said, teacher. There's expression when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And we travel all around. We have teachers, and the four of you today have been my teachers. We travel, we listen to our teachers, we hear their stories, we share ours, we make friends. That's the magic of travel. So I want to thank you all for sharing your stories with all of us today. And hopefully one day we can meet in person. If I'm in London, if you stop by, we can have Italian food or sushi or Lebanese food or even Indian food. Just let me know if you guys show up in London. There's a few Indian places around here. We can go have something besides chicken tikka masala too. So thank you very much. A big shukriya dhanyavad to all four of you. And hopefully, fir milenge. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank
See you
you.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Until next time. And good luck to all of you on all your travels. Thank you. Fir milenge.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.